Welcome back. We are with the GOP endorsed nominee for governor, Mark Boughton. And Mayor Boughton, I want to ask you about a running mate. You didn't choose one last night. You don't have to. Now there are 3 candidates for lieutenant governor. And I know that you've been through this before in previous elections. You've been jilted and then ended up with someone else, and that's just the way it works out. Of the 3 there, and we've got Joe Markley, who is the endorsed candidate for the party, and Jamie Stevenson and Aaron Stewart, who is most philosophically aligned with you?
Look, I think each of them bring certain things to the table. I think Joe has, first of all, congratulations to him. He ran a great race, and proud to see him win the nomination. And I'm also very proud to see both Jamie Stevenson as well as Aaron Stewart do very well also. So we've got a great choice to make. Each of them bring different things to the table. The question is really who's the best blend to be able to govern with and to be able to campaign with, because this is both sides of the equation. So I think our voters have a good opportunity here to choose somebody there. I like all of them, and I'm proud of all of them. I think we've got a deep bench, and that's what this shows. And they're all going to go out and make their argument and work as hard as they possibly can to win this nomination. But at the end of the day, I've got to worry about Mark Boughton. I still have potentially 6 people on a gubernatorial ballot that I've got to focus in on. So we're all sort of out there, still a little bit of a survivor game out there trying to get to the nomination.
So you're not going to pair with one of them before the election?
You know, there's just no way to do it. I mean, if that's anything history's taught me, that's just almost impossible to do that in our system as it is. The Democrats are much better about coalescing around a candidate, and then the candidate can go select a running mate. Just doesn't seem to work on the Republican side.
Did any of them come to you and say, I'd like to be your running mate?
I was approached by a number of people, yeah. Not only those, none of those
Did all
folks.
3 approach you?
No, not those folks, but I was approached, the phone rang off the hook for the last couple of weeks.
And what made you decide not to go with one?
Because I can't make that decision for the convention, and ultimately it's up to the delegates. So for me to sit there and say, I want you to vote for somebody, it just doesn't work that way. And you know, look, we had a fight with 8 other candidates at this convention. So again, we have to focus on what we're doing, not what other candidates are doing.
Aaron Stewart said last night, and she said, if it's 2 white men on the ticket, this will not be good. That's not the message the Republican Party should be sending. Was that wise of her to say, and what if that does happen?
Look, that's Aaron's thoughts. I respect them. You know, I know that from our perspective, we just want the most qualified, best candidate, and we're going to let the Republican voters in the state decide that.
So in the year of the Me Too movement, it's not important if it's a woman?
I think we shouldn't be selecting people based simply on gender. We should be selecting who are the best qualified people, and I think all of us are united that you know, in the era of Me Too, all of us are united in the sense that against this issue, and working every day to make sure whether we implement policies, enforce policies, or make sure that those things aren't an issue. So I think men and women can do that. We
had Ned Lamont on last week, and I asked him what kind of line he would use running against Republicans this year, and it was, we can't turn Connecticut Trump red. And you know the Democrats are already linking you to President Trump. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that as an attack line? What will your response be?
Well, first of all, it doesn't bother me. You know, some of our recent, I know we've had a lot of discussion about polling recently, but I can tell you that Trump right now is polling with better favorables than Dan Malloy is. So I'll have that argument all day long, you know, and we'll be switching over to the governor and what's been done to the state by 40 years of Democratic leadership. But, you know, more importantly, I think for the first time, we've got a working-class, blue-collar Republican who has made it from the ground up, run a large city, to go against somebody born with a silver spoon in their mouth, part of the 1% that has pillaged the state and the rest of the country. I'm happy to have this argument all day long. You can't unwind somebody that's been given everything in their life and turn them into something they're not.
If the Democrats go with Ned Lamont or perhaps Susan Bice, who both can argue that they've had nothing to do with Dan Malloy the last 8 years.
I think they're part and parcel to all of those. You know, they're part of the process and part of the system. You can't argue that way. And I think if you look at the policy positions that Ned Lamont has already staked out, he's not for the working men of Connecticut. He's for his own political ambitions. And so I think people will recognize that. You know, and it's part of that problem where people think that, you know, if they inherit a lot of money and are living a lifestyle that they want to be able to live, that, well, geez, you know, now I can go run anything. And I'm going to buy my way into the office. And it doesn't work that way. You got to earn your way here every day. And as a nominee and eventually governor, I'm going to earn my support of residents every single day while I'm sitting in office.
If the president were to come to Connecticut, would you want him to campaign for you?
President of the United States is the President of the United States. If he chooses to come here, he'd certainly be welcomed.
As you look at the rest of the under ticket, tell us about that and how you think it will help you in November, should you be the nominee.
Look, I think all of our current endorsed candidates are strong. I think the AG race was, you know, very, very tense. I think that Sue Hatfield did a great job in earning the nomination there. So I congratulate her. John Shaben's talking about running a primary, that he's certainly able to do that. I think the Linares Thad Gray race was interesting. Art is a Cuban-American who's got a great backstory. Thad's a successful and accomplished investor. So that race was razor thin, and I think that's going to be the race, in many ways, a race to watch, in August. And I think Art will work very, very hard. So it's going to be exciting.
Candidates love to get quick slogans. There's a Fix Connecticut, Make America Great Again, moving forward and together, hope and so forth. What's the Boughton line?
Well, I'm not it does crack me up whether you're a turnaround specialist, proven reformer, or whatever you decide to put on yourself. I think that when we talk about our candidacy, we talk about building a coalition and working together, pulling all people, regardless of your party affiliation, to solve the problems of Connecticut. That's what we're about. At the end of the day, I unite people, I don't divide people.
The GOP endorsed candidate for governor, nominee for governor, Mark Boughton, the mayor of Danbury. Best of luck. We'll see you back here in a month for the debate.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to hear from Kevin Rennie and Colin McEnroe about the GOP convention and the GOP race. And also we're going to have some old film from 60 years ago this spring when Republicans gathered for their convention. And you can reach me right now. I'd love your comments on today's program on social media.